Coming to you from deep inside the bowels of a great big empty. Get ready for another episode of The Home Defense Show with Skip Coryell.
And that was Golden Glenn, the official announcer of the Home Defense Show. I'm your host, Skip Coryell, author of 22 books, Marine Corps veteran, founder of the Second Amendment March, proud father of 7, grandfather to 19 and counting. And as a special bonus, I'm also madly in love with my own wife. My priorities in life are God, family, and country in that order, and I hereby promise to never compromise in my convictions. I may go broke, but I'll never go woke. And joining me today is my faithful co-host, my adoring wife, Sara Coryell. Sara, while I was reading that script, I was thinking, that sounds so pompous. I'm Skip Coryell. Let's talk about me. Does that sound a little...
Well, you have to introduce yourself somehow. Maybe
I know, but I do it every week.
You could break it up a little over, as you go along, different weeks, do something different.
Well, maybe I'll ask my producer how I could do that better.
Ask your producer. Okay. Who's that?
That's right. I don't have a producer.
Producer?
Well, you can be the producer and the co-host if you like.
Oh, okay.
You are the co-hostess with the mostess.
Okay. The producer.
Well, speaking of producer,
mm-hmm.
We were producing blueberries this week, weren't we?
Well, God produced them, but yes, we definitely appreciated it and put it into the freezer.
Well, it was a team.
It was
a team job there.
Yeah, it's a big job.
I went and I picked them.
That last time you did.
Yep, I picked them, and then you and Amethyst washed them and de-stemmed them. No, you're looking at me.
I don't remember Amethyst being there. Did she?
Oh, okay. It was just you.
That's what I remember.
Okay, it was just you.
It does get very blurry after a while. You came in for a while. You were helping.
Well, I like the blueberries. We freeze the blueberries, and then we eat them all winter long.
They go in smoothies, and they go in cereal and oatmeal. And recently, Amethyst has taken to making like an almond flour pie in the microwave with the blueberries as the filling.
Actually, that's pretty good.
It's very good.
And I can handle the blueberry smoothies. But when you do a kale smoothie, that's just a bridge too far.
Sorry.
It's way too green.
Way too green.
Way too green. I think I'd rather eat a meat smoothie than a...
You might. It'd be more like soup for you.
Yeah. Okay. I guess it is another name.
To be fair, I don't usually put kale in the smoothies. It's a rarity.
Oh, good. Yeah. Good. All right. Well, hey, enough of blueberries and kale. Sara, what's on the show today?
Today we are talking with Gabe Suarez of Suarez Tactics, all about real-life gunfighting. Then, in the shootingclasses.com self-defense report, we'll be talking with attorney and firearms instructor Deron Boring, all about the mob attack in Cincinnati.
Yeah, can you believe that mob attack?
No, it was awful.
I know. Did I make you watch the video of that?
You did.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but you got to know what's going on out there, and that's just one of the things that's going on, and it's becoming more and more prevalent. It's like a crazy virus is loose, and it's making everybody Planet of the Apes. It's crazy.
Yeah, that was really crazy to watch.
Yeah. Well, didn't mean to bum you out there. Sorry.
No.
All right. Well, Gabe Suarez is on. I get his opinion on that. Plus, he has a new video coming out all about gunfighting. And this is a good thing because, Gabe has actually been in many gunfights as a police officer.
Okay.
And so he knows whereof he speaks. So I give him a little more weight, a lot more weight than I do a lot of the other instructors.
Sure.
Because he's been there, done that, got the T-shirt. And of course, Deron Boring is really good. He gives us a legal analysis of that Cincinnati mob attack.
That would be very interesting to hear.
Yeah.
Look forward to that.
But before we get too far into the show, let's thank our sponsors, United States Concealed Carry Association, shootingclasses.com, Center Shot Indoor Gun Range, and Apple Tree Media. And Sarah,
Yeah.
last week we mentioned that we're going to have a new sponsor,
Yeah.
and this
Awesome.
week we will announce it. This week we are adding Trinity Training and Security to one of the sponsors for the Home Defense Show.
That's wonderful.
They're
Phenomenal.
they're based locally here, right here in Middleville, and they do a lot of great things with training and with security. So we'll have them on the show soon so they can tell us their backstory. And Trinity Training and Security, welcome to the Home Defense Show. All right, well, Sarah, what's in the news today? What do you have for us?
Today, we are discussing the secret to a faster draw.
That's important if you're going to get in a gunfight.
Yes, by John Lovell.
John Lovell from Warrior Poet Society. He is incredible. I've told you about him before. I was really impressed with him. His book, The Warrior Poet's Way, is just awesome. If you folks haven't listened to that or read that book, you need to pick it up on Amazon. It is just awesome. I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead,
No,
Sarah.
no.
I will not interrupt you again.
But I like it when you interrupt. It's cool.
Oh, do you?
It's more interesting. If you're
Okay, well, I'll just interrupt you again then if it's that much fun. Go ahead.
If you're a new shooter or even someone with a few reps under your belt, there's a strong chance you're chasing speed too early. I get it. You've trained some fundamentals, started hitting targets, and now you want to post split times like the pros. But here's the truth.
You don't know what split times are, do you?
I'm afraid I do not know what a split time
A
is.
split time, that's basically the distance from one shot to the next, or, how fast you are.
Okay. But here's the truth. Speed without efficiency is a ceiling you'll never break. That's the trap. I see it all the time. Young shooters posting videos where they're going too fast, too soon. The result? Sloppy mechanics, inconsistent hits, and long-term plateaus they can't break through. So let's talk about what actually works. Don't train for speed. Drumroll. Train for efficiency. Nobody wants to hear this, especially type A personalities. I get it. I'm wired the same way. We want to go fast, push harder, and hit that next level. But speed is a byproduct of efficiency, not the other way around.
Read that again, because that is real important.
That's the key. But speed is a byproduct of efficiency, not the other way around.
Speed is a byproduct of efficiency. I had to read that several times because I thought, whoa, that got my attention, right? Keep going.
If you chase speed, your form will unravel and your shooting will plateau. However, if you build smooth, efficient mechanics, speed will follow naturally and it'll be sustainable. When I train, especially during dry fire or warm-ups, I go slow, painfully slow. I start at what feels like 50% speed and focus entirely on clean, deliberate movements. Once I've got that dialed in, I bump up to 70%, then 80%. Every now and then, I'll go full speed, like testing your 1-rep max on a bench press. But that's the exception, not the rule. Trying to go full speed every rep will just make you a sloppy shooter. You actually won't get any better. Shooting is like golf, which I'm terrible at, by the way, but the analogy holds. As I understand it, if you swing a golf club at 100% of your strength, you'll slice the ball. But if you swing at 85 to 90%, you'll achieve better control, cleaner contact, and straighter shots.
Now, see, I understand that too, because I'm a terrible golfer, and I have a slice, probably the worst slice on the planet. Slice means when you hit the ball with a club, it goes to the right.
Ah, okay.
And my shots I'll swing as hard as I can just because, hey, I'm a macho man, right? I'm a Marine, so you don't hold anything back. So I'll hit it as hard as I can, and it'll go out 200 plus yards, and then about another 100 yards to the right. It just goes out and goes woo, way off course, and I'm usually, in a pond or the next fairway or out in the woods, right? You can hear my golf ball hitting trees and things. Yeah. So what I do is I go to the first water hole, and then I go ahead and I dig out as many golf balls as I can because I know I'm going to give them back to the woods.
Oh dear.
But that's the way it is. But I'm going to try that next time I go golfing.
Just pull it in a little bit.
85,
yeah.
Just back off a little bit. But I hear what he's saying, but it's hard to do, to go slow.
I find this in other things too.
Really?
Yeah, if I just, it's not just practice that makes you do a good job. It's perfect practice makes perfect.
Yeah. And I've been teaching that for a long time, but it's hard for me to actually,
Tell your hands to do it.
yeah,
Hmm.
because it's like I want to go fast.
Well, when I do it badly chopping cabbage, I cut myself. So it's
Yeah.
good
Yeah. Yep.
immediate response
You
that I
did
did a
that.
bad job.
Yeah. I remember.
Go more slowly.
I think basically anytime you're doing something new that you haven't done before, like drawing a pistol
Like chopping cabbage.
or chopping cabbage, go slow because muscle memory, that's one of the building blocks of personal defense. Muscle memory is doing the same thing the same way thousands of times so that you can do it without thinking about it. And when you're building muscle memory, the reps are important, but you're right, they have to be perfect repetitions, or else you're not building muscle memory.
Well, you are. For the bad,
Well,
not what you
but
want.
but if you're drawing differently every
Oh,
single time,
that kind of not
you're
perfect.
not
Yes.
getting perfect repetitions in. So that's when he talks about going slow. When you go slow, you can concentrate on what you're doing, where your hand is. Okay, now I'm rotating my right hand. Now I'm joining up here in the center of my chest. Now I'm starting to drive out. I can think about it while I'm doing it and actually do it the same way every single time. But when all you care about is, the beep on the shot timer and going as fast as you can, it doesn't work. But it takes someone like John Lovell that I respect to say the obvious basic things before I'll listen because you may have noticed that sometimes I'm a little hard-headed.
Just figured I was a bad communicator.
Oh, you thought it was your fault. Yeah, no, my personality flaws are not your fault. I had them long before I met you. All right, I'm sorry, honey. Finish up the article.
Just one last closing sentence.
Okay.
The same goes for, you know what? Maybe I should back up a little bit. So he says, you're going to achieve cleaner contact and straighter shots and better control. He says, the same goes for your draw stroke. I want consistency. I want your draw to be repeatable and efficient every single time.
Yeah, and that's what I want too, because that's important because when you get in a gunfight, you got a heart rate much faster than what you're used to doing. You're all stressed out. Maybe your mind is blanked out. So you won't be able to consciously think about what you're doing. It has to be muscle memory, even though it's like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. My muscles know what to do. I'm just going to let my muscles take over. But if you don't have that 10,000 reps in, your muscles won't know what to do.
And your
And
brain won't either because it's
yeah,
all stressed out about a
yeah.
situation. It's
Yeah, I mean, normally I pick out a
yeah.
news article that you're interested in and that you like, but this time I just felt greedy.
Felt
So I,
greedy.
I picked out something that
That's
I
okay.
wanted to talk.
We should be picking articles that our listeners like. So
Well, I think
yeah,
they'll
I
like
think they'll
that.
like that one. Yeah.
Well, folks, let us know
Yeah.
whether or not
We
you
need to
like that.
know.
All right. Okay. So enough of the news. Now it's time for our home defense show hero of the week. Who is our hero this week, Sarah?
Well, it looks like it's two Glocks according to the title.
Oh, yes, Glock. I have a Glock. I have a very nice Glock. I have a custom-made Glock called the Gutter Snipe. It was custom made for me by our next guest, Gabe Suarez.
Oh,
Yeah.
excellent. I remember you were very excited about that when it was out.
Oh,
You were
it's a
so
it's
excited
a
about your
great gun. It's an awesome gun. If I had to be in a gunfight today at 5 o'clock, and it had to be a
Do you have one
pistol,
scheduled?
well, yeah, I would take my Gutter Snipe because that's the most accurate. It feels the best in my hand. It's got a great magazine capacity, but I digress.
It's
It's an
perfect.
awesome gun. Awesome
Good.
gun. Go ahead.
On July 19, 2025, Brett Terbeek and his hunting partner Andy were scouting for a moose hunt in the interior of Alaska. They were about 60 miles up a remote river, about 3/4 of a mile from the riverbank, towards some high ground. Brett told me that as Andy said that, he turned and saw the huge grizzly's head rise from the brush only 10 yards away. The bear locked onto them and laid its ears back as it sidestepped the moose carcass he had been on. He came lunging straight through the brush towards both men. Andy fired the first shot, says Brett, and I remember seeing a perfect sight picture in the center of the bear's mass as I squeezed the trigger. Both Brett and Andy served as Green Berets for a decade before going to PA school together in the Army, and Brett credits his years of service using the 9mm Glock G19 for being able to fire rapid, controlled shots with the larger but similar 10mm Glock G20. He was crashing through the brush directly at us, and afterward the branches were all broken and plowed over, and we found at least 2 that our bullets struck. When he got to about 5 yards, he turned to his right to step into a more clear path towards us, and we kept shooting. As he moved into that open lane, I knew I had at least 1 or 2 of the 15 rounds left. I hadn't been counting, and I needed to save those until he got right on top of us. Brett and Andy found the bear had been hit by 13 of their 16 shots. 1 shot hit the top of the head above the skull and went into the neck. It may have hit the spine. Another shot broke out the bear's front teeth as it went into the mouth. Roughly 10 other shots hit the chest and ribs. 1 of the shots hit a forepaw. It is possible that the 2 shots that hit the saplings continued on into the bear.
You know, the thing that impresses me the most about this is that they're both still alive.
Yeah.
I mean,
13 shots that we know hit home.
yeah, yeah. And one of the things that I find is that combat veterans tend to stay calm and collected while they're under stress like this.
That makes sense.
I mean, I can't imagine a more stressful situation
No.
than that.
Grizzlies are, yeah, enormous.
Grizzly bears, they're huge. They're like 1,000 pounds.
And not nice. I mean, that was his ears laid back and he's coming out. I'm like, he's
Yeah.
really charging. That's very
Yeah, well, I'm
terrifying.
sure he was charging
Yeah.
because he felt threatened.
Yeah, they wanted to.
You know, they wanted to take his moose,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Actually, they didn't, but
no, they didn't. But man, the way they stayed calm and were able to actually aim,
mm-hmm.
you know, to drive out and aim their shots. And he says he saved the last couple of shots until he got closer. And I'm thinking, I'm not saving anything. I'm sending them all, right?
Yeah.
But that's just, the whole thing is amazing to me.
Yeah.
They hit 13 out of 16 shots. You know, the nationwide average for police officers in gunfights, the hit miss ratio is 35%.
Wow.
They shoot 3 times, they hit once. And it's because of the stress.
Okay. And these are police officers.
Yeah. And they're, you know.
I mean, they're trained for it too.
Well, yeah, that's true. But in their defense, Green Berets,
Well,
they get a lot of practice.
yeah.
A lot of practice and a lot of stress that they're used to. It's basically, it's what they are apex predators themselves. They're trained to do that. And they went up against another apex predator. Thank God that there were 2 Green Berets instead of just 1.
Yeah.
Because they needed all
the
13 of those rounds,
Yeah.
you know, to survive. But, you know, I'm not happy that they killed a grizzly bear. I'm happy that they didn't get killed.
Yeah. Well, grizzly bears are aggressive. That was an aggressive one. It was trying to attack
Yeah.
people, animals that kill people.
Well,
That's
you know,
fair.
how aggressive does an animal have to be to hurt you when it weighs 1,000 pounds?
Yeah. But it was charging them. I mean, it wasn't
Yes.
like, I just accidentally swiped you with my paw.
Definitely.
That was intent to kill.
Well, you and I, we have seen grizzly bears. Remember when we went to Yellowstone? No, you don't remember this, honey. We saw grizzly bears when we drove through Yellowstone National Park. I remember those terrible roads that we went on. And you don't remember it?
No, I don't.
Oh, I remember it. Ah, they were huge. Just really huge.
Were we in
And-
the car? And
Yeah,
they were
yeah,
outside?
yes.
Oh, that's probably why I'm not remembering it, because it wouldn't have registered as
That didn't register to you.
the cougar when we were walking in the woods. And I
Yeah,
remember
yeah. That was on our
actually scared
honeymoon.
me.
I remember
Well,
that.
same trip. Would have been the same trip.
Yeah, it was the same trip.
Hmm.
But yeah, the cougar scared me more because
Well, we were just walking in the woods, and he was on the like ridge
on a
beside us.
ledge, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it was
it's
like a
like
ridge, like a little.
he may have been hunting us.
He was walking with us.
Yeah, I had a gun on me though. I had my 40 cal on me at the time. Don't worry, you were safe with me. I was prepared to protect my new bride.
Thank you.
All right, so Brett and Andy
Great job.
from the Green Beret. Good job taking out the apex predator, and with a Glock Model 20. That is awesome. 10
Yeah.
millimeter rounds are huge.
Something I noticed between like this story and some of the other stories that we've shared, in all the cases where these people survive, they just don't quit. Like these
Yeah.
guys aren't like, should I run away? Should I climb a tree? Should I shoot some more? Should I stop? Should I cower? Like none of that. They're just like, we're standing our ground. We're shooting our guns. We're like, whatever they decide to do, they do it. Like sometimes it's a
Yeah.
woman screaming. Sometimes it's this. Sometimes it's, there's a couple different stories.
Decisive.
But in all cases, they're like, I got to do this. I'm going to do it because I got to do it. And I'm not going to stop until
Yeah.
something
Not going to hold back.
So just keep
Yep.
keep doing what you got to do. with the
Katie
English you
barred the
got.
door. It is awesome.
Bravery. Yeah.
All right. So what's coming up next, Sarah?
Next, we are talking with Gabe Suarez of Suarez Tactics, all about real-life gunfighting. Then, in the shootingclasses.com self-defense report, we'll be talking with attorney and firearms instructor Deron Boring, all about the mob attack in Cincinnati.
In the meantime, God bless and stay safe. Watch out for those grizzly bears, because we will be right back.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
At Center Shot Gun Range, we are passionate about training. Don't know where to start? We offer a 1-hour new shooter seminar to introduce you to the world of firearms and help you find training opportunities specific to you. Concealed carry, home defense, firearm safety, AR-15, private one-on-one training, custom training, or maybe you're on a security team looking to protect your church or business. We even offer weekday morning and evening classes. Center Shot Gun Range has you covered. Start your journey at centershotgunrange.com.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
Attention business owners. Are you leaving your website open to security issues and hacking due to a lack of maintenance or overseas outsourcing? Don't let that happen to your business. Choose experienced U.S.-based website developers that can customize your website to fit your specific needs. Appletree MediaWorks has been growing businesses online since 2009. With over 80 years of combined experience, their team conducts constant research and development to keep up with ever-changing online threats. Your website deserves the best protection available. Call Appletree MediaWorks today at 877-977-1364 to keep your website secure and grow your business online. Or visit appletree.media.
Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If this sounds good to you, you sound good to me. And I'd like to help you do those things. Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If you're looking for more excitement in your life, we have nothing to offer you. But if you are a thoughtful, responsible, nonviolent man or woman, we'd love to teach you what to do if something crazy happens. More importantly, we'd like to teach you what not to do. We currently have over 500,000 members. They are doctors and single moms and firemen and grandmothers and veterans and Democrats and Republicans and members of every faith. But the one thing they all have in common is that they know exactly what to do if something crazy happens. When you're with one of our members, you are safe. Our members know how to de-escalate situations. They know how to calm things down. We are the United States Concealed Carry Association. See what we're all about at usconcealedcarry.com.
Discover the little-known backstory of the U.S. Concealed Carry Association at usconcealedcarry.com.
He's no Einstein, but he can read and write and feed himself just like a big boy. Welcome back to the Home Defense Show with Skip Coryell.
And that was the beautiful and sultry voice of Golden Glenn, the official announcer of the Home Defense Show. Folks, we live in a dangerous world, and I want you to be able to protect and defend the ones you love. And that's why I have this show. It's my way of empowering you to accomplish one of your primary jobs in life. You are a protector and a defender. All right, listeners, before we get too far into the show, don't forget to check out our sponsors, United States Concealed Carry Association, shootingclasses.com, Center Shot Indoor Gun Range, and Apple Tree Media. Without our sponsors, this show wouldn't be on the air, so we thank you all. All right, and now I want to welcome an exceptional trainer as well as a friend. He's Gabe Suarez, the owner of Suarez Tactics. Gabe, welcome back to the Home Defense Show.
Good morning, Skip. Thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks for being on. I appreciate it. I know you're a busy man. You got lots of stuff that you got to do. But you just came out with a fantastic video. I've already started watching it. It's all about pistol gunfighting. And, when I contacted you about doing this interview in the email, I said, this appears to be your magnum opus. What do you think about, me terming it your magnum opus? Am I on or am I off, or how do you view that?
Well, it is, but I'm not done yet. So,
well, yeah, I know that.
no, so there's a number of things that were sort of happening, this year that got me thinking about going down this road. The first one is I'm amassing a stunning collection of birthday candles, and I mean, I don't foresee leaving the stage anytime soon, but you realize that there's more miles behind the horse than ahead. And so I've done well, so I don't need to be on the road traveling and teaching constantly just to pay the bills. And so starting in 26, I'm going to curtail my in-person training considerably. I'm going to do maybe 4 classes here in Arizona. And if I travel, it's going to be to someplace warm with a beach. But I still wanted to stay connected to the industry and still do training, even if it's remote. The other thing is that more and more people seem to have an issue getting on an airplane and traveling somewhere to attend a class. And so, well, how do I address all of these things? And it occurred to me, well, what I'm going to do is I am going to record, memorialize everything that I have done in a particular weapon system to date. And I've been doing this, my God, professionally. I've been carrying a weapon my entire adult life, and teaching professionally since 1995. So it's been quite a journey, and I am not beholden to any technique. I'm not beholden to any school or any trainer. I gladly and happily give credit to those who have trained me and those whom I've trained with. But my material is my material, and it was developed through experiences on the street and in teaching as well, finding shortcuts to accomplish a task that are not driven by trying to sell a specific product or trying to defeat some sort of a drill in class or the competitive based or anything like that. The objective is simple: to make the viewer, the student, a better gunfighter. And that means, shooting bad guys that are trying to do the same thing to him. And so I just wanted to get this all memorialized so that, when I'm long gone and everything else, this will remain as this is what we did up to this date in this area. And I'll have it stand alone as I think an important work in this study.
Yeah, I think you and I were in similar stages of life. I'm in, my 60s, and you get to the point in your life where you look back on everything that you've accomplished. For me, radio was kind of a new thing for me in the last 10 years, but I've been an author my entire life, and I've been writing books for like 50 years, a half a century, right?
Mhm.
And you get to a point in your 60s where you think, okay, here, life is a timeline. Here I am on the timeline. Wow, I'm a lot closer to the end of this timeline. Even best case scenario, what? 10, 20 years. I mean, and only God knows, the end of the timeline. But I find myself thinking, okay, I might, before I would get an idea for a novel and I'd just go ahead and write it. Now I'm thinking, okay, every novel that I write, this could be my last one, right? So I'm
Yeah.
thinking I need to do something worthwhile, not just something entertaining or something that I think will make money, but something that, all right, when I face my maker, I can say, yeah, God, I thought that was a really good idea, and
Mhm.
it's like it's my legacy, right? And so you're doing the same thing with training, and I like that you're doing this because for me personally, I've been meaning to get down there to train with you for like over a decade, but it just hasn't happened because life is just so busy and things happen, right?
Yeah.
So I was real happy when you came out with this. Um, can you can you give us a synopsis of what you have in this video?
Well, normally I teach either a 3 or 4 day pistol gunfighting class. I used to have different levels, but I've kind of compressed it all into one presentation because I really don't get the brand new gun owner that goes to class with the gun still in the box, and I get people that are self-selected and accomplished, and so I start the class from there. And so in this video, I cover every topic that I cover in class. And I basically went right down the curriculum from start to finish. I expanded on certain topics that I just don't have time to cover on a range. But it's basically what you get in my 3 or 4 day pistol class. All the concepts, all the ideas, all the discussions, all the lectures, and I demonstrate personally those things that need to be demonstrated, and I lecture on those things that need to be verbally presented, and it's the whole package. And it's not an entertainment video that you're going to find on TikTok. There's a lot of that sort of thing on the internet today, and I was reading an article recently where it says if your video on YouTube is more than 5 minutes long, people aren't going to watch it. Well, this thing's 5 hours long, and it is meant to be a something that is studied, not something that is entertaining. I do think I'm a little entertaining because I mean, I kind of call things like they are, and if somebody gets pissed off at me, I just, well, get in line, dude. But I tell it like it is. There's no politically correct anything. I'm not vague in the words I use, and it's all there. Everything from start to finish, proactive, reactive, long range, close range, you name it. So. It is a study program, not a video to be watched while you're making an omelet in the morning.
Yeah, and that's what I found myself thinking, after listening to the first half hour or so. Um, a couple of things. First, I'm happy that you made it affordable, okay? Because you easily could have charged $1,000 for this video just because of the content, the high quality, your unique perspective, your experience, all of that stuff. You could have easily done that, but you didn't. It's like $150, and it's like, you can say, well, I don't have $150. Well, you can save up $150. I mean, so it's like for the everyman. I mean, everyone can afford this.
Yeah.
And secondly, you just mentioned exactly what I was thinking. It's meant to be studied. Okay. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, listen to the whole thing, nonstop for 5 hours. But then, later on, I'm going to come back and I'm going to listen to it again and I'm going to dissect it and I'm going to memorize things. And I'm an instructor too. You say a lot of things in there and you give us a lot of knowledge. If you're an instructor, you really, really need to buy this video and study it so that you know, which end of the barrel the round comes out of when it comes to teaching your students, because you know you've been there, and you know you got the t-shirt. So that's more than most of us. Most instructors have never been in a gunfight. So it's like, oh, I'm teaching a theory that I've never tested, and I'm one of those people.
Sure. No, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Well, I love it. I think it's great, and people can get this at your Patreon page, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's patreon.com, of course. That's the system. Patreon.com/Suarez Tactics, SuarezTactics. And across the top, there's always a shop. So if you go in the shop, it's got that particular video right across the top, as well as a couple of others that I've done. And again, my whole focus right now is to memorialize everything that I'm teaching. So I'm probably going to do maybe 3 or 4 other videos covering other weapon systems such as shotgun, and maybe if I find a venue, I've got a couple of places where I can do a video on CQB, close quarter battles and tactics and things like that. So that's probably also going to happen. But I mean, yeah, I could have charged a lot more and made it super exclusive, but I don't want to do that. I've made my success already, but by the same token, I don't want to give anything away, because if I gave things away, there's no value to them, and people were like, okay, I got it downloaded, and I'll look at it sometime. But if you pay $150, you got skin in the game, and so you're going to watch it, and you're going to study it, and it's going to make you better. And I mean, make no mistake, 2025 and beyond, America's become more dangerous, and I think in my lifetime it's going to change. And you're either going to make yourself equally dangerous and thus be protected from the opposition, or you're not, and you're going to be a victim. And that is a very self-selecting thing, and no one's going to do it for you. No one's going to give you the red pill, and all of a sudden you're the master gunfighter or anything like that. You got to put the time in, and part of it is this: get yourself the training. You get on an airplane, you travel somewhere. I mean, you're looking at what, $400 round trip. If you get a deal on the airplane, then you got the hotel, you got the rental car, you got the ammo, you got the tuition for the class. By the time everything is said and done, just attending the class, you're probably out about 3 or 4 grand. Okay.
Yeah.
Or you can pay $150 and get all the material.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing that I liked about the way you were teaching is you don't just say how to do something. You say, all right, here's how to do it, and here's why you should do it this way. I mean, so many instructors, it's like they'll see someone else, successful at, being a pistol instructor, concealed carry instructor, whatever. And you go, wow, that guy's making money. So I'll go ahead and I'll take this, like a 2-day class. I'll get my instructor credentials, but you still don't know what the heck you're talking about. You have this very basic knowledge, and basically, I think most of I'll speak, to my home state of Michigan. It's an 8-hour class, but basically you're being taught by someone who's qualified to teach firearm safety, and that's not enough. That's not going to get you through a gunfight. That's just enough to, keep you from accidentally shooting yourself in the butt, and we don't even talk about drawing or teaching anything like that. But you say, oh, when you were going over the rules of safety, you said, okay, this is the rule, but this is real life. This is in a real life gunfight. These antiseptic safety rules aren't necessarily the same in a classroom as they are in real life. Talk about that a second.
Well, all right. So I titled the section "Real World Safety," and look, when you mentioned the 8-hour deal, that's like I don't know if they still have this, but I remember back in the Jurassic era when I was going to high school, you had a class you could take called driver's training.
Mm.
Well, driver's training, it got you out of the parking lot and you learn how to make right turns so you could get home after school and you got your license and that was it. You were not a performance driver. You were not a race car driver. You were not an executive protection driver or anything like that. You just basically learn how to operate the machine without running over the nuns and orphans and get home safely. And so there were all manner of always do this, never do that, and so on. And you had to learn those things, and they had to become important to you so that you could manage the machine safely in the real world. The gun world is exactly the same. You got a bunch of neophytes in class, and the biggest danger is them shooting you or them shooting each other. And so you have to have these hard, fast, written in stone on Mount Sinai rules because otherwise it doesn't work. But when you are no longer a teenage driver trying not to run over people on the way home, you're in your 30s, you're a professional driver or what have you. And I think we're all professional drivers, so I think that's a very good analogy. All of those always nevers are like, well, sometimes maybe, and it depends. So I mentioned, okay, that all guns are always loaded. No, they're not. If I take the CZ that's in my belt out and I unload it and I check it and I have you check it and I dry press it 5 or 6 times and somebody says, well, that's still loaded. I think you're an idiot. Don't let the muzzle cover anything you're not willing to destroy. Well, that muzzle's always covering something you don't want to destroy. And in the real world, people get covered with gun muzzles all the time. Nobody runs around in low ready, gun pointed at the deck. They point guns at people that scare them, and that's as it should be. And then the trigger finger. There are a number of different issues with the trigger finger, a number of different issues with background. So nothing is black and white. The entire world, and especially safety in the real world, is very gray. And there are degrees of sometimes maybe, and it depends. It's not going to be always never, ever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like you're taking what you've learned and now you're putting it in context because everything in gunfighting is contextual, isn't it?
Yes, it is. That's correct.
Yeah. Well, I think that analogy of the new driver is spot on because I have a 15-year-old son and he went through driver's training, just got his driver's permit now, and now I'm in the passenger seat and he'll pull up to the stop sign. He'll stop about 40 feet in front of the stop sign. And I'm thinking, okay, why did he stop so far back? He's got to go. And I say, son, you need to get closer. He says, yes, I know, Dad, but in driver's training, they taught me I stop here and then I slowly coast forward. And so basically what I've told him, I said, all right, son, that's what you learned in class. And I think that's great.
Yeah.
But you're pissing off the guy behind us.
Sure.
So now he has to learn, to drive in real life. And,
Right.
and
Application.
that's just, yeah, absolutely. So I think that's fantastic. Well, all right. Fantastic video. I want everybody to get that. So is the easiest link is that to go to suareztactics.com and then they can get everything?
No, the easy, just go to Patreon.
Okay.
Patreon.com/Suarez Tactics.
All right.
That's where we have it. And it's there. And you know what? And it's not just a video. I put content up every morning. I put something up this morning where I discuss product-driven training, where people trying to sell stuff by disguising it as training. Oh no, nobody ever does that.
Well, yeah, everybody does that almost. So that, all right. Before I let you go, Gabe, I also want to talk about some of the crazy crap that's going on all over the country right now. And this thing in Cincinnati where they had, a couple attacked by a mob, and my I watched that and it's like my blood is starting to boil. But I'm not exactly sure, okay, why am I so angry? My wife said, well, why do you get angry over that? I'm afraid. And I'm saying, I just, when I see that, I get so angry and I want to do something, but I'm not sure what it is that I can do. What is your take on that, like mob mentality, mob attacks, flash mobs, smash and grabs, all of this stuff that's going on?
Well, there's a difference between smash and grabs and what happened in Cincinnati and what seems to be happening around the country. Not so much with mob attacks, but with just people doing what they're doing. With regard to the Cincinnati thing, you know, it's um, it's really unpopular and unpolitically correct to bring up any racial component to it. But that's something that I believe the left in America likes to promote. It's one of the tenets of communism to find a disenfranchised group and convince them that they are being held down by someone and that they need to take action and they need to be violent and all this sort of thing. And I suspect that some of that was a factor in the Cincinnati attack. And but nobody in the mass media is saying anything about that. If it would have been uh, a bunch of well, I don't know, Viking lookalikes right out of the cast of the show on TV, beating up a black couple, it would be all over the news 24/7 for the next 6 months. So there is that component, and it can't be ignored, and it's very real. But as far as tactics on what to do, I mean, look, if you go anywhere today unarmed, you're being foolish. That's just the reality. And so that's the first thing. The second thing is, all right, you're not going to negotiate with a mass of people that is bent on your injury or demise or what have you. And so I think what you have to do is you have to take steps to make yourself as undesirable as possible. And I don't mean, be smelly and ugly and don't wear nice things and stuff. What I mean is appear to be a dangerous person that's going to extract a very serious tax should you be attacked. And I think if the first person that tried to lay hands on the couple, if all of a sudden they found a knife stuck into their arm or under their chin or a gunshot to their face or something of that nature, I suspect that the others would have been dissuaded from pressing the attack. Then you've got the liability averse crowd. Yeah, but this is going to happen. That's okay, fine. So it does. So you get in trouble. You spend a year in jail, but you know what? You didn't get beat up. Your face is still the same, and you defended your wife. And whatever the cost, it's going to be worth it because when you look back 10 years later, she was not beaten up or raped or whatever because you acted as a man and you took care of business, whatever the cost. So those are just my thoughts on that particular event. You've got to take responsibility for yourself, your own safety, because nobody is going to come and help you out. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're going to videotape it and try and be famous on YouTube or whatever. But
yeah, so if they're going to videotape you, let it be of you doing something amazing.
yes, yes, I think that's true because you're going to have to live with that, right? Um, Gabe, you answered that question pretty much exactly the way I thought that you would. And, Sarah and I, my wife, Sarah, we had this conversation yesterday, right? Because, I watched that video and I was just in a sour mood, really sour mood. And I got to thinking, first off, I avoid places like that. 3 a.m. downtown. I don't go there, right? I mean, because everybody's snockered, they're not in their right mind, and it's trouble, right? But second, if we blunder into a riot or whatever, and we have to deal with this. I told her, I said, honey, I just want you to know that if something like this happens to us, my gun is coming out
Mhm.
and I'll shoot someone, and then you and I are going to try and retreat,
Sure.
because we can't shoot everybody, right?
No, but my experience has been that the mass attackers, and we're not talking 50 people here. We're talking, three, five, whatever. They're not of a hive mind. You generally have one or two that are the most aggressive, and then the others are kind of follow on people, so, and you'll identify those, and then you just say, sweetheart, plug your ears. It's going to get loud.
Yeah, yeah,
But the whole 3 a.m. stuff. I mean, look, I'm kind of with you on that, but I enjoy where I'm at. I'm like up here in Prescott this week, and as I'm sitting here in my office, I can look out into the field here. I've got some acreage. I had a couple of deer that just walked by a little while ago. It's beautiful up here. But I also like to go to the Phoenix, Scottsdale area and go to concerts, go to nice trendy bars and stuff like wear my Rolex and that sort of thing, and so sometimes I may find myself downtown at in the wee hours and so on. But so again, always armed. And if I'm out in public, I generally don't drink a lot as it is as I've gotten older. But if I do, maybe one or two drinks. You never diminish your physical capacity when you're out in public. And then, very casually, you don't have to be paranoid about it, but very casually, eyes on a swivel, and if you see a group of men standing alone, well, okay, do you want to tempt the tiger and walk right past them? Or do you maybe want to go, you know what, sweetheart, we're going to go this way, and take a different route. It doesn't mean that you're afraid of them. It just means that, you know what, I'd rather conclude my night in the way that I had planned and not otherwise.
yeah,
And so, you are evading, but from a position of power and strength, not one of fear. And they'll look at you and they'll think, yeah, not that guy. There's something about him that just not a good idea. And
yeah,
that's what you want to portray. You want to portray yourself as, just kind of just a little dangerous, a little bit. So they're unsure about what to do. And there's a lot of components to this. What we call command presence and projecting energy and all this. This is not square range stuff. It's kind of I guess you'd call it internal martial arts stuff. But you can do that, and lions will recognize lions, and lions don't want to mess around with other lions. They'll wait for a gazelle to come by.
yeah. There's so many gazelles out there. Why fight a lion? I
Sure.
mean, they don't taste as much as well, anyways, right? You want a soft, juicy gazelle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think some of the best training that I've ever taken, it was titled Dangerous Individual Recognition Training, dirt training, and it was like 3 days on how to recognize, you know, dangerous people like that, how to avoid them, how to make yourself, not appealing to them. That was all really good training. And recently, a couple of months ago, I took a weekend gig at a sports bar, security at a sports bar. And I can tell you, that's basically the job is you're watching people,
Yeah.
who comes in the door. All right, am I going to have trouble with this guy? And it's like, I'll look at guys and I'll go, that guy's dangerous.
Yeah.
And it's like I recognize that he's dangerous even though he hasn't done anything. It's
Yeah.
just maybe the look in his eye, the way he's holding himself, how he's looking around. And that doesn't mean he's a bad guy. It just means he's dangerous. And okay, I'm gonna watch him out of the corner of my eye. But it's interesting work, and for the most part, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, being dangerous is not a bad thing. Being dangerous is a good thing. Being harmless and weak is a bad thing. And that's
Yeah.
something we should avoid at all cost.
Yeah. Well, I think you're talking about on an interpersonal level, but I think my personal opinion on the world stage, I think Donald Trump has nailed it. You know, the whole peace through strength thing. I mean, nobody is messing with the United States like they were when Joe Biden was president.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely true. Yeah, I agree 100%. And I
All
voted
right.
for him.
I voted for him 3 times. I'm going to keep voting for this guy until we get him in. All right. Well, all right, Gabe, one more time. How can people get this video?
So go to my Patreon page, and it's Patreon, patreon.com/Suarez Tactics. If you're on Facebook, I mean, just go to my Facebook page. It's just do a search for Suarez Tactics or Gabriel Suarez, and I have links up there as well, and then my training website, which I'm not really doing a ton right now. But there's also a link to Patreon there. But Patreon seems to be where everything's happening now, so that's where I'm focusing most of my time.
All right. Fantastic. All right. Well, Gabe, I want to thank you very much for the video, all the training you've done in the past, and all the training you're going to do in the future. Thank you very much for being on the Home Defense Show today.
Thank you, brother.
All right, this is Skip Coryell on Home Defense Show. Coming up next, we'll be speaking with self-defense instructor Houston Denham from the great state of Oklahoma in the shootingclasses.com self-defense report, where we get some expert advice on the details of self-defense. But during the break, I want you to log into rumble.com and search on the Home Defense Show. I posted a series of entertaining and educational videos there just for you. Check them out and don't forget to like, share, and follow. God bless and stay safe, because we will be right back.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
At Center Shot Gun Range, we are passionate about training. Don't know where to start? We offer a 1-hour new shooter seminar to introduce you to the world of firearms and help you find training opportunities specific to you. Concealed carry, home defense, firearm safety, AR-15, private one-on-one training, custom training, or maybe you're on a security team looking to protect your church or business. We even offer weekday morning and evening classes. Center Shot Gun Range has you covered. Start your journey at centershotgunrange.com.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
Attention business owners. Are you leaving your website open to security issues and hacking due to a lack of maintenance or overseas outsourcing? Don't let that happen to your business. Choose experienced U.S.-based website developers that can customize your website to fit your specific needs. Appletree MediaWorks has been growing businesses online since 2009. With over 80 years of combined experience, their team conducts constant research and development to keep up with ever-changing online threats. Your website deserves the best protection available. Call Appletree MediaWorks today at 877-977-1364 to keep your website secure and grow your business online. Or visit appletree.media.
Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If this sounds good to you, you sound good to me. And I'd like to help you do those things. Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If you're looking for more excitement in your life, we have nothing to offer you. But if you are a thoughtful, responsible, nonviolent man or woman, we'd love to teach you what to do if something crazy happens. More importantly, we'd like to teach you what not to do. We currently have over 500,000 members. They are doctors and single moms and firemen and grandmothers and veterans and Democrats and Republicans and members of every faith. But the one thing they all have in common is that they know exactly what to do if something crazy happens. When you're with one of our members, you are safe. Our members know how to de-escalate situations. They know how to calm things down. We are the United States Concealed Carry Association. See what we're all about at usconcealedcarry.com.
Discover the little-known backstory of the U.S. Concealed Carry Association at usconcealedcarry.com.
They say he eats crayons and his knuckles drag on the ground, but that's only half true. Welcome back to the Home Defense Show with Skip Coryell.
And that was the beautiful and sultry voice of Golden Glenn, the official announcer of the Home Defense Show, and I'm your host, Skip Coryell. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, United States Concealed Carry Association, ShootingClasses.com, Apple Tree Media, and Center Shot Indoor Gun Range for all your training and equipment needs. And now it's time for our weekly self-defense report, sponsored by ShootingClasses.com. And today we're speaking with attorney and firearms instructor Deron Boring from the great state of Ohio. Deron, thanks for coming back on the Home Defense Show today.
Always happy to join you. Thank you.
Yeah, and you are on your way to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Is that correct?
I am just passing through Bay City, a little bit north of your neck of the woods now.
Oh, the Superior State.
I do like it, even as a native Ohio, and I do have to say Michigan is great.
Oh, the Upper Peninsula especially. I used to go up there teaching concealed carry classes about 3 times a year, and I got to tell you, the people up there, they are different from the rest of Michigan. So I just got to forewarn you.
Okay, I'll be ready.
Okay. They've got that Uber accent and a little, they're opinionated, but that's okay. I love them.
Good.
All right. Okay. Well, Deron, you're in a attorney. Just give us like a 26 intro on what you do.
All right. Well, first of all, you hit that right. I am an attorney located in northeastern Ohio. I'm also a firearms instructor, both USCCA and NRA certified. And I teach primarily when it comes to use of force law and primarily self-defense law and things like that. Don't do a whole lot of trigger time classes anymore, but that probably is going to change in the near future. I need to get back into that some. And you can find information about me at 1791 training on shootingclasses.com.
Awesome. Well, actually, the trigger time, that's the fun part of teaching, in my opinion.
I enjoy it. I just don't have the time for it. The classroom stuff is so much easier to pull off very quickly.
Yeah, that's true. You just show up and do it. All right, Deron, man, I've been chomping at the bit to talk to somebody about this. I've been watching reports about this news event all week long, and this is the Cincinnati, I don't know, mob beatdown, I guess you would call it. But basically, I'll read parts of a short article here, and then I just want to get your opinion on it. So here we go. It says, Cincinnati police chief says out of 100 people watching and recording violent attack, only 1 called 911. Authorities have charged at least 5 suspects in a violent attack that took place in downtown Cincinnati, according to police. Fox 19 reported that the beating took place on Friday night between Elm and 4th Streets, with videos going viral on social media. Video circulating around social media shows 2 people attacking a man wearing a white t-shirt who was eventually shoved to the ground. The man wearing a white t-shirt was kicked several times while he was on the ground, but eventually gets up. A woman also seen lying unconscious in the street after being punched. Several people can be seen helping her get up, and she eventually regained consciousness. Ohio Republican gubernatorial candidate Vivek Ramaswamy spoke with Holly, the woman who was knocked to the ground on Monday. Quote, she's a single working mom who went to a friend's birthday party. It's unconscionable that there were no police present in that area of Cincinnati on a Friday night or even an ambulance to take her to the hospital, he said. Hard-working Americans shouldn't have to worry for their safety when they have a good time in our cities. Holly said not a single local or state official has yet reached out as of earlier this afternoon, other than one police detective. Cincinnati Chief of Police Teresa Thietke, I can't even pronounce that, said during a press conference on Monday afternoon that her department had charged 5 people for their involvement in the violence, though she would not release the names of the individuals. Police sources told Fox News earlier on Monday that at least 4 suspects have been identified. Police are still trying to identify at least 8 more people. It is unclear what led to the beating. 2 individuals were seriously injured. All right. And probably most people listening have either seen the video or they're living under a rock someplace and they just aren't online. But um, let's just open this can of worms. What's your initial thoughts and feelings on this event?
I have two thoughts on this one. And unfortunately, if you've heard me on here before, my first thing is the infamous John Farnham quote: "Don't do, go stupid places at stupid times and do stupid things with stupid people." And I'm certainly not blaming the people involved here whatsoever. But at some point, I questioned, why on earth are you down there that late? And is it going to be nothing but trouble? And if you look at the news for Cincinnati, that area is just constant trouble. Certainly doesn't justify a darn thing. I think that's my second thought on that. That really, this was as bad as it gets, getting circled by a mob, and whether there was good reason for it or not. This was an interaction that went on way too long. Nobody got involved. Everybody stood around, took videos of it, and just ultimately, it's really a miracle either of these two survived. To be honest, I really, when I first read the story, thought that there was going to be at least one fatality for that. That was horrible.
Yeah. I guess one of the things that bothers me the most is that this seems to be, I don't know, coming in vogue or something. It's like they're going to have an Olympic event called, Mob Beatdown, and or a game or something. It's almost like a game because it's not just happening in Cincinnati. This has been happening for several years now across the country, and you're right, it's almost always in downtown areas of the big cities. And and on the one hand, I agree, and I say, okay, yeah, don't go downtown at 3 o'clock in the morning because bad things happen down there. On the other hand, it's like, what can justify beating a man and a woman so brutally, almost to their death? They could have easily died with some of the punches and kicks and stomps that they were taking. As an attorney, did that rise to the level of deadly force?
Absolutely. In every element of Ohio law for self-defense being justified was met on that, had they actually had the ability to. And I think that actually raises the better question, that we all have this perfect vision in our head of an incident that we could do this, we could do that. Well, if you don't see him coming up from behind you and it's 7-on-1, I don't care what you've got in your pocket, pepper spray, taser, gun in a holster, whatever, you don't stand a chance if you don't see it coming. We can say all day long, any level of lethal force would have been absolutely justified in this situation. You have to get to it in the first place, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess it's always been my opinion that these kinds of events, they do rise to the level of deadly force. I mean, certainly anytime you have multiple assailants, 2-on-1, 3-on-1, 4-on-1, 5-on-1, man, how does one person protect themselves without some type of a force multiplier in a situation like this? You just can't.
This is just probably one of the clearest examples I've seen of just the absolute necessity for it, and to where the law would never question it. I don't think there would have ever been. Well, I shouldn't say that. If you've seen some of the other remarks in Cincinnati, I shouldn't say that it would be without question, because one of the earliest remarks from the police chief after this happened basically was, "We will prosecute all sides of this encounter," as if she was almost implying that the victims in this case somehow started it, or and even if they did have a harsh word or something stupid that did start it, this quickly left the realm of them agitating anything. The comment of the police chief at the beginning of that was just reprehensible, but I expect nothing less out of Cincinnati police.
Yeah.
Well, let me rephrase it: Cincinnati police chief and the government, not the police officer.
Yeah, I understand. One thought that crossed my mind when the police chief makes statements like that, it's tantamount to, saying to a woman who has just been raped, you know, you're responsible for this too. I mean, you shouldn't have been so good looking. You shouldn't have been there in the first place. So I'm sorry, we're going to put you in jail too. That's what it reminded me of.
It absolutely does. And, you know, one of the elements of self-defense, you know, lethal force in Ohio is, I always call it clean hands. In other words, you're not the one that started the fight or escalated. And, you know, I've seen rumors of what started the fight. And you know, one of the rumors out there is that one of the victims of it slapped somebody. Well, a slap certainly doesn't necessitate the response that was shown. So even if, and I don't know that I believe it, but even if that is such the case, Ohio law quickly would turn the table and give those people the right of self-defense on. Because, you know, a slap certainly doesn't net, you know, a stomping into the pavement at that level.
Let's change, you know, all of self-defense is scenario based. And so let's just change one of the details of the scenario here. Instead of the man falling down and, you know, nearly being beaten to death, let's say he was legally carrying a gun. He drew his gun and he shot one of the attackers, and the rest of them fled. Okay, which is probably realistic. Usually you shoot one and they go, oh, okay, this game isn't as fun anymore. And then it goes to court, and he's charged. What do you think legally is going to happen in that jurisdiction in this scenario?
And Hamilton County, it still has enough of a, you know, even with the leadership there, I think there's enough intelligence that if they got the right jury, I think it would be the right outcome. And again, that's sort of the Hamilton County there where Cincinnati's at, sort of a coin flip, in my opinion, of, you know, would they paint the attacker as the victim? Is this, you know, motivated by one thing or another? I don't think their odds in that case would have been bad, because when you're surrounded by a group like that, you have absolutely no other choice, especially seeing what happened to the other party in the altercation, you know, laying there passed out, knocked out on the concrete. I think any person could draw the, you know, both an objective and a subjective inference that my life's about to be over based on this group.
Yeah, I think so too. You know, my wife and I, we were discussing this, and, you know, and first off, we avoid any downtown area like the plague. You know, a city over 50,000, we just avoid the downtown area, especially at night, because it just seems like the downtown area is where the riots happen, where the mobs happen, where the beatdowns happen, all of that stuff. So I avoid that. But, you know, not everyone takes self-defense as seriously as you and I. I suspect that the victims in this case are going to take it a lot more seriously now. But you know, I told Sara, I said, listen, honey, we need to talk about this. And I said, listen, if you and I ever get in this situation, we will try to get away. Okay. But if we can't get away and they're pressing in around us, I said, you need to know that my gun is coming out and I'm going to shoot somebody. And then we'll try and get away again. But, you know, it's one thing to make plans, but, you know, quite frankly, in my mind, the use of deadly force is pretty cut and dried in a scenario like that. I mean, what do you have to do? You know, just, you know, take one for the team, you know, because of the politics of deadly force.
And again, I think that was almost the implication that was made by the police chief in that case, that, you know, that these two almost did something wrong. It is me that you even could ever get put in a situation like this. And I realize that society just is what it is today. And it is. It's the same reason I stay away from places like this. It's sad. It's really sad, because downtown Cincinnati is a nice place. There are a lot of good restaurants there. No desire to be down there. None. And it really is sad.
Yeah, learn how to cook, right? Learn how to cook, and it's safer. But yeah, I agree. And you know, you can argue till you're blue in the face that, well, hey, I should be able to go anywhere in America and feel safe. And okay, yeah, you should be able to do that, but you can't. My daughter, she's 30 now, and she's a lot smarter than she used to be. But when she was 16, she was on the track team and the cross country team, and she would put on this little skimpy outfit to go running in the summer, to prepare her, for competition, right? And I'd keep telling her, I said, you really shouldn't be wearing that, and you shouldn't be jogging out, in the state game area all alone by yourself. You're going to get hurt. And just no, I should be able to go wherever I want to go. And that wasn't the point. The point was, if you deny harsh realities, the harsh realities they're going to take their toll on you, and they'll knock you down and they'll beat the crap out of you, whether you have the right to do that or not. And I kind of see it the same way in this instance.
I do, and it's unfortunately it's what's allowed to happen in major metropolitan areas. It really does make me sad. It just, you should be able to go to dinner at a nice place downtown and not worry about what's going to happen next. And it's statistically speaking, it's probably not going to happen. But do you even want to be the one out of 10,000? I guess is the question.
Well, how many times do you have to get the crap kicked out of you before it becomes a significant event in your life, right?
Yep.
Just the one time.
Yep.
Well, and another thing about this, Deron, another aspect about this was there were at least 100 people there. I mean, but watching the video, you can see that traffic was stopped. But out of all the 100 to 200 people that were there and watching and videotaping it, only one person called 911. That just tells me something about where our society is right now.
It does. And I'm going to guess there were probably so many people taking pictures, being spectators rather than anything else that it's not even fun. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. But to wrap this up, though, in your professional attorney hat opinion, you believe that particular man, he had the legal right, he was legally justified in the use of deadly force if it had been available to him. Yes or no?
Absolutely. The disparity of force alone on that would absolutely, without a doubt, qualify for the use of force in a case like that. Because again, and like I said, that both subjectively and objectively, you are going to reasonably believe that your life is in serious imminent danger of death or great bodily harm. And that checks all the boxes in Ohio law right there to be a justifiable lethal force. So,
yeah, well, I agree with you. And if something like that happens to me, that's basically what I'm going to do. I don't have the kind of personality that looks forward to taking one for the team. I don't have a victim mentality. For me, it's like, am I going to be afraid? Yeah, you're darn right. I'm going to be afraid. I'm 67 years old. I've got my wife with me, and there are 10, 20 people who, in my mind, are trying to kill me. And
absolutely.
So, I'm just not going to. I work part-time on weekends at security at a sports bar, right? And I was working with my partner on a Saturday night, and he had bruises all over him, and he showed me a video of how he got them. He was working in downtown Grand Rapids, which is not a big rough city. It's not Detroit.
Yeah.
And he was attacked, him and his partner was a professional MMA fighter. And they were both attacked by 20 teenagers, and they got him down on the ground, and they were kicking and beating and punching him over and over again. And all he could do was cover up and wait for them to finish beating him. I just thought, boy, if that can happen in, Grand Rapids, which is like 35 minutes from me,
Yeah.
and it's not a rough town, then it can pretty much happen anywhere in the country. And I think we're going to see more of it.
Well, and I think you said one thing that I want to key in and double back on one thing. You said, when they finish up. Well, when do they decide to finish up? And that's ultimately the question that I always ask. Somebody, is lethal force your last resort? And lethal force should be your absolute last resort. If you have any way to get out of it without using it, get out of it. If you're surrounded by that many people, either getting beaten or it's obvious based on what's already happened around that's what's coming, I think you're at your last resort. And obviously, as I always tell people, it depends on the circumstances. One tiny little factor can change that. But my goodness, I don't know that you have many other options at that point.
Yeah.
We're not an armadillo. We can't just grow up in a ball.
Yeah, not wearing body armor. That raises one other question in my mind, and this always comes up in class. People, they always say, well, can I just shoot him in the leg? What's your legal response to that?
Legal response to that is very simple. You can die from being shot in the leg just the same. Lethal force is anytime you decide to let that gun leave your holster and point it at somebody or in someone's direction. That is an escalation to lethal force, or even if it's not that, in Ohio, that's aggravated assault. That's a serious felony regardless whether you pull the trigger or not. So just shoot him in the leg, top of being a tactically bad thought there, in my opinion, is no different. I don't want really shot in the leg with the arteries and veins in my leg any more than I want shot in the face of the chest. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, shooting someone in the leg while they're moving, that's a tough shot. Plus, they're in a crowd of people. I guess in my mind, tactically, I'm going for center mass first, so I don't miss and hit someone innocent. And second, I want to actually stop the threat. And I guess at that point, my life is on the line. I don't really have the luxury of being nice and only shooting you in the leg. I'm not that good, right?
Yeah. And again, even if you were, your ability to bleed out from your leg is just as bad as the ability to bleed out from anywhere else. So that is no less lethal in my opinion.
All righty.
Tactics aside, it's lethal.
All right. Well, okay. You are headed up to the Upper Peninsula, so we're going to stop talking about bad things because nothing bad ever happens in the Upper Peninsula.
Absolutely. Sure. I'll just say,
Okay. It's where people go to get away from bad things.
I hope so.
All right. Well, you go up there and you relax, Deron. I appreciate you taking, time off your vacation to talk with us about this. And you have yourself a fantastic vacation up there, okay?
All right. Thanks again. Always great being on.
All right, folks, that about wraps it up for this week's show. I've had a good time, and I hope you have too. Please don't forget to thank our sponsors, Center Shot Indoor Gun Range at centershotgunrange.com, shootingclasses.com to help you find the right trainer for your needs, Apple Tree Media for website security, and the United States Concealed Carry Association. For all your self-defense needs, go to uscca.com. All right, I've written 20-plus books, and they're all available on Amazon.com in paperback, ebook, and audiobook. This week, check out my novel, The Mad American. I think you'll like it. And also check out the Home Defense Show videos on rumble.com. And if you want training from me in person, then check out Midwest Tactical Training at shootingclasses.com. Please join us again next week for all your home defense needs. In the meantime, God bless and stay safe.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Home Defense Show. Now, get out there and protect the ones you love. We'll see you next week with more of the best.
Bye-bye, boys! Have fun storming the castle!